everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time reviewing on Little Shop of Horrors. Now, as you know, Little Shop of Horrors is a horror comedy musical film that was directed by Frank Oz and was meant to be an adaptation of the 1982 off-Broadway musical of the same name, as well as itself being an adaptation of the 1960s film The Little Shop of Horrors. And I would say after rewatching The Little Shop of Horrors, I would say it's a film that has good ideas and is trying to go back to that campy sort of B-budgeted movie feel. So the premise of the film is meant to take place in the early 1960s, where we kind of see how in the rough, run-down neighborhood part of New York City, known as Skid Row, where we kind of see how a struggling florist shop owner, Mr. Musket, is kind of having to deal with the problems of lacks of customers for his business, and we kind of see how Seymour, one of his employees, has the idea about using a special plant which he purchased from a Chinese flower shop during a solar eclipse. And at first the plant seems like this big success, and it kind of seems like everything is going to be fine until we kind of see how Seymour learns that the plant that he dubs Audrey 2 has more sinister motives. And we kind of see how Audrey 2 is able to manipulate, use, and even trick Seymour into getting what he wants. And I think when you also have the actual Audrey, played by Ellen Greene, I think the character's there, but I think they wanted to probably do a bit more with her. And I think it's kind of a shame that when you do have her sadistic sort of boyfriend played by Steve Martin, Owen, I think there was a lot more they could have done with him. Like maybe portray him as this nice guy at first, but later kind of reveal his true sinister nature. And it seems like they were really wanting to do more with Steve Martin, but it just kind of seems like a bit of a waste. And I think for the most part, I think the film does work at places. Like, yeah, I think when you got Rick Moranis playing Seymour, you can tell he's that guy who knows Audrey deserves better and does voice a bit of concern and care for her. And I think when you got, Mr. Musket, you can tell he's maybe starting off as a bit of a grump, but you can kind of tell he's a grump who has to deal with his own sets of problems. And I think for the most part, when you do have the three backup singers, I like their characters, because one, when they're actually in song, it reminds me of the Disney film Hercules. You can kind of tell, like, when they wear a different sets of outfits, it's to kind of bring the mood of the song. And I think, yes, some of the songs actually do work. Because, when you've got Audrey's song Somewhere That's Green, it means the better life. And I think when you've got The Dentist, which is Steve Martin's song, it's more him accepting his role and even talking about all the horrid things he's done. And I think, when you kind of got the song Supper Time in that, it's just basically Seymour being confronted by his boss. And I think when you've got the song Feed Me, it's just basically Audrey 2 manipulating Seymour into getting what he wants. And I think for the most part, I would say, looking at the two endings from the director's cut, I know there were two different sets of endings. I know the original ending was meant to keep close to what the Broadway musical was, both Audrey and Seymour dying, and the plant succeeding in taking over the city, leading to worldwide chaos. But I think the ending we did get, I think, was better, because it was basically Seymour realising that he didn't really need money to impress Audrey. And when you do see Audrey and even Seymour realizing the shock and horror of the plant being shipped worldwide. It's just basically Seymour trying to set things right and showing Audrey that he's now learnt from his mistakes. And I can understand why the test audience weren't pleased with the ending, because, yeah, you can really tell they wanted to see Seymour succeed. And you finally do see him and actually Audrey get out of Skid's Row. And I think the ending that we did get at the end, with a smiling Audrey 2 Bud at the end, left the message that the cycle may start over. I think, yeah, I can kind of see where the film felt a little rushed at points, and I get it with basically 94 minutes. You have to squeeze in what you can, and I can understand, yeah, the test audience not being pleased with the ending. But I think the ending we did get was better, and I think the test audience made the right call. So I think this film definitely deserves thumbs in the middle. Well, it's not a bad film. I think there was a lot more they wanted to do with Little Shop of Horrors. It just feels like it was a little rushed at points, or not taking time to build up with Steve Martin's character, or John Candy's as the sort of radio personality. But it's still a watchable film. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.